Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
It's not over because that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.
The worst police officer ever. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. My name is Katie, and I am joined, as always, by Charlie and Chantel. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
How are we?
Good, thanks. How are you?
You're good.
Anyone who's paying attention will realise that we're wearing the exact same outfits, sat in the same place as we were in the last episode.
What? No, we're not.
We're not. I know we should have done a quick change because no, we're definitely not filming these back to back.
No,
Definitely
we're going to
not.
gaslight our viewers and listeners by being like, you're crazy.
Yeah,
Although
I've been sat here all the time.
Last time we did a double recording, we were much drunker, got progressively drunk and progressively tired. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Let's
But
hope not.
as we are on our second one in a row, shall we crack on so that we can yeah, I said that and then realized I didn't have the description pulled up. I'm very sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Right. Well, so this week we are covering the 2006 Wicker Man, or The Wicker Man. So Edward reaches a private island to help his ex-fiancée find her missing girl. The community she lives in follows an odd cult, and he must locate the girl before she is killed in the name of sacrifice. Charlie, this was your first time watching it, correct?
If it counts as that, yeah.
How much of this did you watch?
So I have watched it all. It turns
Okay.
out that I've watched the extended, but I did turn it off because fuck me.
Oh, when did you turn it off though? Or did you turn it back on again, do you mean?
Yeah, I turned it off. I went away for a bit, calmed down because it enraged me so much, and then I came back and watched the final 25 minutes or so.
What enraged you that bad?
It's fucking shit. Like, it's it's just terrible.
So it
Like,
wasn't, oh, this is too scary. It was you just weren't enjoying it.
Yeah, like this was like I enjoy a shit movie. Like the Room, I'm all here for. Fucking Sharknado, I'm all here for. This I thought was going to be a serious-ish movie. I got Nicolas Cage out of this movie, and
I mean, you knew he
possibly-
was going to be in it.
I knew he was going to be in it, but I didn't realize that Nicolas Cage would be playing essentially. Obviously, he's playing himself, basically, and even Nicolas Cage gets fed up with what's going on in this movie. Like it's fucking terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, I had to turn it off.
Okay, Katie, what about you? I know this isn't your first time, so.
It is my first time.
Oh!
It is my first time. I've seen clips of it, but I've never watched it through before. I know because how me and you used to quote it, right?
Right. I thought we watched this together, which is why I was like, I know it's not your first time. We must have watched the original together.
Possibly. Maybe we did watch this, but I don't remember.
I think we watched the original because we always quoted
Okay.
it to each other, which is why I was so confidently like, I know it's not your first time. You're like, it is. I was like,
yeah.
oh,
What?
who did
Yeah,
I watch
this
this
is my
with? then?
first- Don't know.
That must have been. I'm gonna say that was the original we watched.
Okay. Although I don't remember watching the original either. But anyway,
Who did I watch this with?
I don't know.
I'm being gaslit. Katie's just like
I know. You're crazy. You're
crazy.
Yeah.
We didn't. Chantel, we've never watched a horror film together.
I know that's not correct. I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of got everything that I knew that was gonna be. I got everything out of this film that I thought I was gonna get. Like, I think Nicolas Cage like defends this film like even today because he's like such an insane human being. Like he's still like it was meant to be kind of like a dark comedy. It is meant to be quite weird, and I mean it's just an insane film, and I think since then it's developed a bit of a cult following. Like I think it is a bit more of a cult film now, and people just take it as a mad Nicolas Cage film because he's been in, and he's kind of like turning into a bit of a horror legend. Like he's been in so many horror films since this film, and some really good ones as well. So I think it kind of paved the way for him for the horror world, which I think is important because obviously we've got Long Legs coming out, which is meant to be incredible, which he's in.
Renfield, not too long ago.
Renfield, Mandy, like he's been in so many. But obviously it isn't a good film, and the pacing I felt like in the middle it was really fucking boring. But I think it does pick up slightly at the end. But I wasn't massively surprised with how shit it was. What about you, Sal?
Sorry.
No, go for it, Charlie.
I was going to say, do you think Nicolas Cage, because he obviously won the awards quite early on in his career, do you feel like after that he reads a script, like every script he reads is like, yeah, fucking
yeah, I'll
this.
do it.
Like to literally fucking everything.
So
Months.
yes, but also I think again, it's funny that like obviously Katie, you're saying he has done some good horrors. Because I think horror is one of the few genres, as we've said, where you can do a shit horror and it still be a good film. So I think again you can almost take a risk with horror.
Yeah.
Funny
100%.
enough, when I was in New Orleans, there's a theory because I'm gonna forget what year he bought it. There's I'm gonna get her name wrong. Madame Lalaurie. I actually don't want to call her Madame because she was a fucking serial killing psychopathic bitch. But if you've seen, I think I've mentioned it before. Fuck, my brain is all over the place. American Horror Story, the Coven series. It's the oh my god, Kathy Bates character. So, and she does a bloody good job as it. But she was a horrible, evil fucking human. But her house is still standing in New Orleans. And at one point, Nicolas Cage bought the house. And so I was on this tour and they were saying that everyone that's bought the house has then ended up having like really bad luck. But this house is a huge mansion. So only like rich, wealthy people can afford it. So, but when he bought it, apparently he got really angry because loads of tourists kept coming to like take photos of the house. And he was like, oh, I'm just a normal guy. Like, why is everyone taking photos of my house? And then like some of the locals were like, do you know whose house you've bought? And he ended up selling it. So I don't know if, like looking at the timeline, I'd be very curious if his luck started to change once he sold the house. But they were saying the person who's bought it more recently is like some fucking, I can't remember if they were like a stockbroker, someone who's like not there a lot, but they keep pissing off the local residents because every time they turn up, like, so Lalaurie did loads of really horrible shit, like torturing and experimenting on her slaves. So again, like you have to, some of the shit in American Horror Story is like the bare minimum. Like some of the shit she did was horrific. But the guy who owns it now decided that he didn't care, and he didn't care about the history and all that, and decided to hang Halloween decorations of like a black slave in a cage. And so all the locals fucking hate this guy because he's just making a mockery of it. But yeah, so I was learning all of this on the tour and it was really interesting. But they're all just waiting because they're like, the curse of the house is that whoever owns it just ends up like going down. So they're waiting for the house to just take this guy down. And it was one of those, me and some people on the tour were like, if I was rich enough, I'd buy the house just to leave it empty. Like, because again, like there's been like photos, they've captured like ghosts and stuff in the house. So they're like, I'd rather just leave it for them to like leave them in peace, because it was, again, just horrible. But yeah. So again, I should have looked at the dates of when he bought and sold that house and see if that was like when his career went down or when it went back up again.
That's when it was the National Treasure years. He
Yeah,
was like,
literally.
right, I've got to get my paycheck.
What the fuck happened to Nicolas Cage? And then everyone's like, oh, he bought a house that was against him.
The thing is, though, apart
yeah.
from like Longlegs, he's not really in very many like famous blockbuster films anymore. Though he is in like these random little indie horrors.
But I think
It is very strange.
He's done the big blockbusters. So I think he's now in a privileged situation where he can choose. So if he wants to do like a funner project because he's interested in it, he can. Like he's not fighting to survive like some actors. So yeah, and like he's such a household name as well. Like love him, hate him, mock him, he's a household name. Like
yeah, I think his name has changed throughout, and I think horror has a lot to do with that. I think like he's quite beloved. I think he's quite beloved in general. Like I think everyone will watch a film that he's in because you know it's going to be unhinged. Like I know, like if he's in a horror film, there's most likely I'll watch it.
I think as well, he's kind of like Vin Diesel or someone like that. You know what you're getting. Like they all they play the same character every time.
That's what you were gonna say. That's such a weird comparison.
I was trying to be like, I was trying to think of like who's another actor who always plays. Yeah, but they always play themselves.
Jason
like,
Statham,
The Rock. They always just play the same version, slightly tweaked, and it's like it. And again, it is that if you know Nicolas Cage is going to be in it, Charlie just said he plays himself.
Yeah,
because he always plays himself.
He's even got a movie about him playing himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, but that's
the thing. He takes the Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but he takes the piss out of himself. Like he is self-aware. He has done a few good films, but
completely unrelated. But isn't his son like a massive goth as well?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Nothing funnier than the pictures of them like
together. Just
like, it's just great. Like, but again, he supported his son. They still hang out. He's like, yeah, this is who he is. But yeah, he's like
I'm blaming the son on these fucking roles. That I mean, to be fair, I'm not a Nicolas Cage fan. Like,
I get.
I'm but it's just like I don't know. What I was expecting out of this movie and what I got are two different things.
Well, because what made me laugh when you put a thing up earlier to be like, oh, I had to stop it. And I was like, have you even got to the actual Wicker Man part? Like, do you even know why the film is called that yet?
No, I hadn't got to that part yet. And that's why I was just like, fucking hell. Like,
I mean, sorry, I know we're massively skipping, but we do that anyway. But when you mentioned the Wicker Man, like I'll put in there that I think not only was that like my favorite scene, but it also looked fucking cool as well. I will say that I really loved the look of it. It did look sick.
I think that part, even though the film, like up until that bit, is quite ridiculous. Yeah, it's a weird one with this because I was like, I wouldn't even call it a ridiculous film. I think it just kind of missed the mark a little bit.
Yeah,
but because it wasn't intentionally being ridiculous. Even if they think it was a dark comedy, I'm like, well, it wasn't.
What's in the bag? Sharks?
You'll need a good talking to.
What's in the bag? A shark or something?
And then it's
so clearly a human.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was intended to be fucking weird. I think like
weird but not funny. Like I don't think it was. Maybe they were trying. Maybe our sense of humor is just very different. But I was like, I don't think it was trying to be funny. If it was, it failed. Like
it's like there's some of the script writing as well. Like obviously, but within the first scene, obviously you've got the car crash. That has no relevance to the rest of it. He picks up like a self-help book. He smiles at it, like it never comes up again. Like it's like what?
Yeah, no, that one bit was a bit random. I was like, why is he looking at that book?
Nicolas Cage objected to the criticism that the film was unintentionally funny, saying that he and Neil LaBute knowingly made the picture an absurdist black comedy and that it should have been seen and judged as such.
No, fuck off.
No.
I mean, a lot of it was fucking funny.
But I don't think funny for the right reasons. I think funny because it was cringy or like awkward, not because it was actually funny.
It's like when he beats up like half the sisters. And he punches Sister Beach. That was literally one of the best moments of my life. He just walks up to her, doesn't say anything.
Kate's cracking me up. Yeah. Although one of the first reviews was, "This is one of the funniest films I've ever seen," and I'm like, did we just miss stuff? Like,
Did you not find that punching bit funny?
yeah, but like not the whole film. Like there was bits that were funny, but somebody's like, "This is one of the funniest films." I'm like,
My Charlie said, "What is that, a shark?"
What is that, a shark? It's like, what the fuck?
How is that your first guess?
It's an island. What you got in your bag? A shark? Also, this place has a website, but they don't have mobile phones or anything on there. Who the fuck?
who's made the website?
Who has?
No, but they
Well,
leave the island.
they
So
do,
they
yeah,
obviously
like the
make the island when
girls.
they leave.
Yeah, they don't have fucking phones, but they got a website for it.
Yeah, but they leave the island
It's
to make the
2006.
website
To make
in a
the
library,
website.
and then come back. This is one of the funny, like this review is like, "This is one of the funniest films I've ever seen. Essentially, Nicolas Cage plays himself and invades an island to assault a bunch of cult members and then screams about bees." Is that not the perfect description?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my legs.
It's the fucking bees on that guy's when it's at that house and like every room's like, it's like a fucking what's behind the door, and it's like, just
I like it when all the bees are on him and he's just slapping his face. That's also
yeah,
very
yeah.
entertaining.
We're bitches. Oh, I can't.
Killing me will bring back your honey.
Who fucking?
I just don't see it. Like, yes, there were funny bits, but I still wouldn't have put this in a comedy section.
No, but this is like Nicolas Cage being mental and trying to justify it. Like,
oh god.
Also, like, obviously the men are seen as the breeders and basically the dumb fucks on this island as well. Like, oh my god,
I want to live there.
But I love as well where it's like he's offended because he's like, "Oh, so you don't what does he say? You don't appreciate men, you're not equals to men." And she's like, "No, we just don't bow down to them."
Men are what? Second-class citizens?
No, not at all. We love our men. We're just not subservient to them.
And like there was such a difference in her mind. And then you see the men looking depressed in the pub. And I was like, to be fair, that's not that different to society, because if I go to the pub right now, there'll be a bunch of depressed looking guys sat around drinking beer. Just saying, used to be a barmaid, just thought that fucking unusual. Like,
I thought they had their tongues cut out, but I don't think that was my thing, because they never they didn't speak. So I thought like they had their tongues cut out. But
was that in the story or was that?
No, I feel like I just made that up, but I feel like that would have been a good addition to the film.
Would have made more sense.
I think
Well,
so.
I don't know.
I've just remembered the bear scene.
Oh yeah.
I'm just there's so much. There is so much. Don't be frightened. I'm here to help.
I'm so sorry that we're doing this because this is a bit of a shit show, but there is one with my favorite, Sister Beach, who comes back after being knocked out by Nicolas Cage, and and then when it's always all revealed at the end, she's standing there and she's dressed as a fish.
It must be ladies' night.
It's so good. Why a fish though? Actually, I never actually clocked why a fish.
Exactly, tell. That's a great question.
Loads of the kids are dressed as bees, which is cute as fuck. Why a fish? That's a mock them for the shark in the back.
It's a throwback.
It doesn't.
That's where that reference comes from.
This whole film
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
No.
It's shit.
A lot of it didn't make sense.
It's so shit.
I think what I took from it was that like some of the bits I found were quite funny, but also there was a lot of filler in the middle, which kind of just became like dull and frustrating, which was annoying for the film.
I again just didn't see it as a comedy, and I saw it. Yes, there were funny points, but again, I thought it was more because they were ridiculous than because they were trying to be funny. But I think, like you say, there's like all the filler bits in the middle where it was him like screaming at the school teacher and stuff, where I was like, he's taking this so seriously, because he should. He's a policeman trying to find a missing child. But do you know what I mean? I was like, how can you call that a comedy film when he's like defending this? And it's like, what?
How to get burned? How to get
I was
burned?
literally about to say that. He cuts her off from what she's saying, and she's like, I don't know. And it's just like, what?
Yeah, like he just turns full. Yeah,
Nicolas Cage.
yeah.
He is doing what we are thinking as an audience. Like he's just like, cut the fucking bullshit, love.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, Tal, completely, because you're right. Like I don't know what this film was meant to be. Like I don't think any of us know what. I don't know whether they're just saying that because of the reception it got and it was meant to be a horror film. But like they cut out probably some of the bits that would have made it more horror. Like they said that they cut out where they showed him them breaking his legs.
Yeah.
And the B bit I think was taken out in some sort of version because they wanted to make it a 12, like a PG-13 to cut like so more audiences could watch it. But I think maybe to make it more horror, they probably shouldn't have done that.
Absolutely. And also because I was like, not being funny, but like once he was put in the Wicker Man, what was to stop him escaping if he still had his legs intact?
Well, there was like so you guys, I'm just checking we watched the right version. You guys didn't see them break his legs, but it was all in like background, wasn't it? Like you just heard it when he was like,
oh yeah, okay, fair. So his legs were still broken, we just didn't see it as gory.
We just didn't see it, you just heard him scream.
Yeah. So because I was gonna say, I was like, I mean,
yeah, no, he wouldn't have been able to escape.
Tied him in, but I was like, yeah, but you'd have tried a bit harder. But like you needed something to keep him in there other than the bees. Like
I guess it was kind of a bit like Christian in Midsummer, like he was like paralyzed, so he literally couldn't. Well, actually, Christian literally couldn't move, whereas Nicolas Cage's legs were broken. I guess like what could he have?
Dragged himself like a shark.
Yeah, dragged himself. You're right. So he probably could have tried a bit harder.
He could, and again, like had we not known his legs were broken, and as you say, like I don't know. I think having, like you say, having seen that, making it a bit more horror. Because that's the thing, once you see that Wicker Man, the idea of getting burnt alive as part of a sacrifice is terrifying. That's really scary. So
it's not ideal, is it?
It's not great. It's not I know they used to sacrifice a lot of women in myths and everything, but you know, it's not really the way you want to go. So I just think they could have made that really scary. And I just love that maybe to them it was a dark comedy, but because they were on set, like maybe they just were like having a lot more fun, and then when we watch it, we're like, we don't get that vibe.
Well, I also have another question, because the whole point was that they were supposed to sacrifice him for the honey. How would that have worked? And did it work? Because then they say 6 months later, the women are out seducing James Franco and his friend. Well,
yeah, because they have to go and seduce people off the island, otherwise it'd be an incestuous problem.
And that because they've got to come on their own. Well, they have to agree to come on their own accord.
But how did they know the honey didn't work?
Well, no, but again, same as like once upon a time they used to sacrifice the odd woman or the odd villager to the gods. And it was like, you did have to do it annually, or you had to do it regularly. You couldn't just, also because in theory, James Franco would have been sacrificed like, what, 6 years down the line? How old's that girl? Like 12 years down the line?
Yeah.
So their fate is decided, because again, you can't just do one sacrifice and the bees are forever happy. They need an ongoing supply of honey.
But clearly, but obviously that didn't work though. Like that doesn't.
Oh, it might have for this like turn of the century, like turn of the year, but then
how does sacrificing someone bring back bees?
Well, it's all like bullshit and belief, isn't it? This is what cults
it's cults.
Yeah. But would they not like realize that there's no honey?
Or they might be like, I'm not really a fan of this Nic Cage sacrifice.
Maybe
I'm only going to give them 6 months worth of honey.
Maybe they sacrificed for the honey, and then in like 6 years it'll be, oh no, we're actually running out of wheat, so then they have to sacrifice for something else. Okay. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
I'm thinking too logically about this.
Well, yeah, because the gods aren't going to be happy with one sacrifice for eternity. The gods live forever. The bees live forever. Not individual bees, but the bees themselves live forever. So, you know, you need more than one sacrifice. They just spread them out a little bit. Because they even said they have like annual festivals. So, What did they used to sacrifice for like a good harvest? It was like a lamb or something.
Goat.
I guess
Or
my
goat, yeah.
confusion is like, would they not realize after they've sacrificed Nicolas Cage that there still isn't any honey? So like clearly they're like, oh well, it hasn't worked, so let's stop doing
He
this.
was right. He
No,
won't
'cause
bring
they'd be
that
like-
honey back.
He was
No.
right.
He was right, but maybe the problem isn't that they're not sacrificing enough. The problem is humans are killing off the bees in the world from deforestation and everything, but because they're on their own little island, they're unaware of the rest of the fucking world causing all the problems. But again, like, he killed a bee straight at the beginning, so really, you know, they had to kill him.
Fair.
I did wonder that as well, because like, again, like halfway through, I thought the twist was going to be that his daughter had died. Because I was like, I know I've seen this and I know she comes back, but I was also like, once he figured out it was his daughter and he's like, why did she die? I was like, could have been a bee sting because you're her father and it's pass the allergy on.
That's
Like-
too much of a normal good
But again,
outcome
like,
tell for
he's a
this film.
fucking cop and he didn't even think about that as a fucking situation. No, he just went around screaming and punching cult members instead.
Also,
Legend.
bees generally don't tend to like go out their way to sting people and attack people as well.
Yeah.
Which, like, they're quite calm. They'll happily just walk on the ground and just like, what have they done to these fucking bees?
No, but he also killed a bee, so you know.
Yeah, but
There was quite a fun little link with obviously like the queen bee, and how women are in charge of the community. I thought that was it clever? Don't know, but I quite like that link.
They tried. Gold star.
My annoyance with this link is that it's like, yay, we have a women-run community, and it just makes us look like psychopaths. Where it's like, oh, if women were in charge, you'd fucking sacrifice a man every year, and it's like, well, yeah, but not because we're crazy.
Just because men suck.
Because we want the bees, like. But you know what I mean? I was like, why is it that it just makes it seem like women are insane and Nicolas Cage is the only rational one on the fucking island, which no one has ever fucking said.
No.
Like,
And you don't think girl power when you watch this film, do you?
no, and you should. Like, this should be like a great place to live, and instead you're like, cool, let's pretend to kill a child to kill their dad. Like,
I know I keep comparing this film to Midsummer and it's so different in terms of like quality,
It's-
but like it's not a good for her film like Midsummer
No.
is.
No, it's why is someone dressed up in a bee costume?
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about the
Why
fish.
is someone dressed
what?
up as a fish?
I'm really more confused about the fish than the bee.
I have to find a
I mean, a
picture of the
bear.
fucking fish.
What am I saying? Fucking.
I'll find it.
I can't fuck it. This fucking, what's that in back? Oh, I can't. Like, there's so much stuff. The script just does not flow. Like, it's like it's another fucking GBT fucking script.
The script
it
is
isn't.
terrible.
So long.
It's awful.
It's very bad.
I want whatever Nic Cage was smoking when he read through this and was like, that's the one for me.
Well,
Have
I feel like this was around National Treasure when he did National Treasure, but
I've never seen National Treasure.
I'm
I'm lucky enough to
I don't know why
escape that.
I keep talking about it.
Because what else is Nicolas Cage known for? Face Off.
Gosh.
That's good. That's such a good.
That's a great film.
A
That's a
Ghost
great
Rider.
film.
I've never seen
That's my
that
face
either.
off impression.
I'm trying to find out a little bit of folklore about the Wicker Man. Again, I ran out of time to kind of actually dig deep because I know there is a lot of lore about it.
It's fucking
But-
right at Alton Towers. Like,
Oh yeah, it is actually. But this is it. And again, I think I always, when you think of the lore, I think a lot more about the original than I do about the remake.
I was gonna say, have either of you seen the original with Christopher Lee?
Well, I thought I watched it with Katie, but apparently that's
It's like the fucking character from fucking Star Wars.
I was gonna say Star Trek.
Like- The fucking senators
The senators
Fucking
walked into the fucking wrong place.
wrong movie.
Wrong movie. Sorry, guys, you were talking.
It's fine because I was just trying to find something.
No, I've not seen it, and apparently it's amazing. So I'd quite like to watch it.
I remember really enjoying it, but it was a long time ago, so I do need to rewatch it because I don't remember it a lot. But I remember again just laughing more at this one, which is why I was like, "Oh, we'll cover this one first." But
yeah, I think this one is funnier to cover, but I think whereas the actual original Wicker Man is like actually good. But Christopher Lee like absolutely shit on this one. Like he was like, I don't want to be associated with this film.
Yeah,
keep my name out of your mouth.
Oh, rip.
And you do what Christopher Lee says. Like he is king.
He is.
He was king.
Daddy.
Annoyingly, I can find there is a lot of like festivals that involve like Wicker Men or like burning like
a fish
or burning large wickerwork figures, especially over like France in the 18th and 19th century, but I can't find why.
Anything about sharks in bags?
No.
I mean, why is a great question, Tal.
Why is it great? Well, you were the one asking about the bees. Young men with torches danced around the burning column, and the townsfolk and clergy sang hymns. And they were shaped like a mummy and about 20 feet tall. This was all in France in Burnt Each of Midsummer. So it is linked, but
nice.
But there is some archaeological evidence of human sacrifice among Celtic people, although it is rare. There was also evidence of Celtic animal sacrifices, sometimes by burning. This is all from Wikipedia. But it doesn't say why. But I suppose as well, like, it wasn't necessarily recorded why.
Yeah.
It's all a little
at this point, who even fucking knows what's going on? I
genuinely wonder, this whole time we've always been like, oh, these sacrifices were made to the gods. I wonder if it was just like the local town murderer. They caught him and burnt him to like make an example.
The local paedophile.
Literally.
Actually saying that would have been the end of all churches and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, true. But you know what I mean? I was like, I do wonder if it was something, actually, to be fair, it would have been like theft or something that they would have been burnt for.
Looking at them funny. Ooh.
Yeah, we've always thought it was like these sacrifices. What if it was just punishment? It was kind of like, nope, you fucked up, you're getting burned. And we've always thought of it like, oh, it was this really grand honor to be sacrificed.
Yeah. Well, really, they were just a cunt.
Yeah, the local twat.
I guess a lot of people do see it, like even they, like the locals, were seeing it as an exciting thing to happen to him. Like, and I'll keep doing this, I'm sorry, but in Midsummer, like the older people were like, they felt honored to go in and sacrifice themselves. So they obviously see it as like this is such a gift that like Nicolas Cage can be burnt alive in a Wicker Man.
And that, my friend, is your destiny.
It is your destiny.
That's what this film was missing, was a cliff jump or two.
Ugh. Straight. No, but then he would have been a shark.
Well, I guess they got some broken legs, but it's still not. It's not the same.
No, it's just a weird one.
Yeah. And the terrible cut to when he's like sitting on the boat trying to get signal, and and then he looks down and then he's got his kid in his arms. It's just such a terrible cut.
It is just a weird film.
It's just a fucking terrible movie. Like,
it is a bad film.
But again, I would really love if anyone is like, I generally find this like the funniest film. Because again, like I said, like we keep saying, there's funny bits. But again, because I think they're cringy, not because I'm like, oh, this is a great comedy. What is listed as?
I mean, Ellen Burstyn is in this, who is in The Exorcist. She's like horror royalty. And it's like she's credited in like this as the second person, but she only comes in, I think, like in the last bit of the film. She's like the older woman that's in charge of the whole.
We'll forgive her.
Queen Bee.
Queen Bee. Yeah, she's Queen Bee. But it's kind of like, a horror. She was the mum in The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, she's. Oh, it's amazing that she's in this film.
Was stuck for money, so agreed to
basically
to join in for the last 5 minutes.
Well, again, if she was only in it for 5-10 minutes, then she may not have known how bad the rest of the film was.
She was doing a Drew Barrymore, Drew Barrymore
Drew
from
Barrymore, beginning of Scream.
Yeah.
the thing is as well, it's listed as a horror film. It's not listed as a dark comedy. So they can shut up about that because it's not.
I think what they probably mean is like it was interpreted that way further down the line. You know, like when films become cult films, they become
And they try and backtrack
parody.
Something else.
It's a great film. No, it's not.
Well, yeah, like you say, Tara, like maybe they're backtracking.
Yeah.
But I also kind of love how Nicolas Cage does defend this. Like, if you're gonna like do shit, at least stand by your shit, and that is
it's given
what he's
to
doing.
me, Waizu.
It is like
Yeah.
he is, standing.
The American.
he is standing it with his shit.
Yeah, you can't be. I mean, you can be like, yeah, it's a terrible film because actors have, but
Yeah.
it's better to be like, no, we really tried.
Yeah, I remember George Clooney once said he was in one of the Batman films and it was so bad, and he said that he would anyone that he spoke to that saw it, he would give them money back. Like he would give them some money out of his wallet. Like, don't
so
ever
funny.
buy this film.
But that's the same as like Ryan Reynolds and Green Lantern. Like
Yeah,
he has slagged it off so many times, and it's like to the point they
Robert
mocked it.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Like actors do hate their roles sometimes. So again, once they've signed the contract, they can change the script, they can do whatever, and the actors have to go with it. But I think
Yeah.
it's different. I don't know if Nicolas Cage was like involved on a producer side, and if that's why he defends it so heavily.
Let's have a look.
I do
need
love
to find this out. Why does he love this fucking film so much?
I do love actors that do that. Like,
Slag their films
Right.
or defend them.
well, I mean, kind of like go on to do such different things from what they were. Like Nicolas Cage was in like Ghost Rider, National Treasure, like bad films for a while.
Yeah.
And then he just came back and became this like guy that would do these rogue, like independent horror films and would be good in them. And like Daniel Radcliffe, for example, was in Harry Potter. And like he has just gone off to do these insane roles. Elijah Wood, Lord of the Rings. Now he's in these like weird horror films.
I love the direction Daniel
Rob
Radcliffe has
Pattinson.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all these people. And I kind of feel like Nic Cage has gone that way as well. So I
Yeah.
can respect it because all of them are in like decent films as well.
Yeah, no, it is funny when you do see an actor just suddenly go, well, now I can do what I want.
Yeah.
And they choose either better films or, like you say, like more independent,
Yeah.
just funnier. Fuck it. Honestly, Radcliffe is one of the best examples. What's that?
Yeah.
Guns Akimbo. Fucking brilliant.
And like Charlie was saying about Renfield with Nic Cage, like that was a feature, that was a like a blockbuster film. That was a very well-known film that came out, and now he's got Long Legs under his belt. Like I think he's been kind of making a comeback for a while, but I think certainly Long Legs, I think, is really going to bring him back.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a look when he moved out of Lalaurie's house.
I'm also seeing Long Legs tomorrow, so I will update you all on Instagram as to how I found it.
I heard
No
like,
spoilers.
yeah, no spoilers, but like you said, it's funny you say like, oh, it's really good. I've heard one not great, but again, that's like one person, and yeah, so I do want to go see it and make my own opinion.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh, that's a good start.
We'll see.
It hasn't had the general public come to it yet.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. True.
Charlie, did you find if he was involved on a producer side?
No, I can't find anything.
Let's just make it up.
I have found that Ari Aster was quick to deny that Midsummer was influenced by The Wicker Man.
How dare he?
Because again, it's one of the most famous like folklore cult films, so it probably was like with nothing to do with that.
That's interesting because it seemed like it definitely was, like even not the 2006 version.
Yeah, not intentionally, but
So Ari Aster says, I basically let go of The Wicker Man as an influence the minute I decided to make this. I tried to avoid it as much as I could. I think what the movie tries to do is point to The Wicker Man and set up expectations to set up expectations native to that film, and then take a left turn from there and go somewhere surprising.
Well,
so fuck your theories, Katie.
Yeah, clearly I'm fucking wrong.
although
I'll just go fuck myself.
My theory, so Nicolas Cage sold that house in 2009 he lost it in foreclosure after brief ownership. So if we look at his history, when did his films go the other way?
I mean, when have they ever gone the
when
right
did they
way?
start getting very weird?
But yeah, so I do love that in an actor when they do just go completely rogue. And like you said, Tell, they make their money.
Yeah.
Or they do a Nic Cage where like they've just kind of been in a handful of shit films and kind of just think, fuck it, I'm going to go for, because he has been in some incredible films. There's this film called Pig that he was in, which is unbelievable. And he is good. And Mandy is an amazing film. Like maybe one day we'll cover it, but yeah, he is a very interesting, like this film. Yeah, just, yeah.
He's an interesting
but I just know some people that just love this film. It's just mad.
Tell them to fuck themselves. Slap check.
But again, I don't know if it is because they maybe see it funnier than we do. So they're like, oh no, it's a great funny film. And we're just like,
and it's Nicolas Cage and it's weird. So they just kind of take it for what it is.
Yeah. So Robin Hardy, director and co-writer of the original film, and Christopher Lee, who played Summerisle in the original film, were both critical of the remake. Hardy had his name removed from the film's credits as he did not wish to be associated with it.
Big up.
This is all from IMDb.
Nice. The film's dedicated to Johnny Ramone. I don't know if you guys saw that at the end.
Nice.
And he was the one that introduced Nic Cage to the original Wicker Man.
Johnny Ramone's like, please don't.
What a fucking night that must have been.
Yeah, Johnny Ramone's like, don't get me involved in this.
Please don't put my name on that. It was not screened for critics, which tells you everything you need to know. Edward Mullus, I actually don't know how to say his surname, Mullus, punches out 3 women.
Oh, it is 3, isn't it? I think I just remember Sister Beach is the best one.
You were probably laughing too hard to see the other 2. You genuinely enjoyed that far too much. Winona Ryder turned down the role of Willow in this film as she hated the script.
Oh, I can't see why.
Oh, how funny.
Although a box office failure, the film has gained a cult following due to Nicolas Cage's acting, which people said was unintentionally funny, which is now him defending it, going, no, that was intentional.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like you don't really know, do you?
I don't know.
Much of the dialogue is the same as in the original, although sometimes in a different context. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
basically, I think it's just a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
It is indeed.
But then I think I'm a bit more like, well, he's been in great horror films since then, so I'm going to forgive him. Whereas I think Tell's just like, fuck this film. And Charlie is even more like, fuck this film.
Well, let's get on with it then. Do we think we can survive this film?
Yes.
Why would you survive, Charlie?
Fuck me. Why would I survive? Because I'm a woman, so I'm doing all right on this island.
This was my point. I was thinking this while we were watching it, and I was like, we are going to have to assume we're men in this scenario, because otherwise it's the easiest survival ever. So assuming we're dudes, or
assuming I'm a dude, I'm not really going to go and help my ex on an island if I'm all right. Like,
but what if
I can agree with that.
But what if it's to save your child? Because that's the point, isn't it? He's trying to find his child.
Yeah, but he didn't know that at the time.
He didn't. He's just a bit. I don't understand following.
She baby trapped him.
Well, she didn't because she didn't tell him. Yes. She didn't tell him they had a kid until she needed his help finding it.
She used him as a sperm donor.
Yeah.
Fucked off to an island, and then trapped him on the island. Well, enticed him onto the island by being like, "Come and help me find my kid." No.
FYI, she's also your kid.
Oh yeah, just to let you know. No, I'm surviving this. Like, no, it's fucking weak plot, and I'm fucking stronger than Nicolas Cage. So yeah.
Even with broken legs.
Even with broken legs, I'd be the fucking fish master. I'd be a fucking shark in a bag and get my way out of there. That's what I'd be doing.
Katie, what about you?
Yeah, I guess if I was a bloke, I mean, it'd be kind of hard to survive if I was Nicolas Cage in this scenario. Like, there was a plan, and even the little kid was involved in it. It was a very meticulous plan. So I feel like no, I think it's quite hard to survive this one because, I mean, obviously, like if he escaped earlier on, there may have been, well, even earlier on, I'm not sure there was a way to escape because obviously the helicopter wasn't even working. So I'm gonna say no. What about you?
Again, assuming we're dudes, because otherwise it's far too easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd want to say yes because I think I've used this kind of excuse before, though. But I'm not going to turn up, kill a bee, and then immediately start screaming and punching people. Like, I know that's not immediate, but I've managed to make it quite a few years without punching people, or screaming in their faces.
Have you?
So yeah, I've done quite well. At least 10 years at this point.
Before that, though.
12. Yeah, so like I feel like I'd be a bit calmer, a bit better, trying to win them over.
Okay.
But again, I suppose it's hard because the entire point is that they're trying to kill you. But I think as well, especially if I ran out into that field and they were all dressed like that, I think once I started getting cult vibes, I would be like, I'm out of here. Like,
adios, motherfuckers.
Adios. I don't trust you. Fuck.
You
like, I don't know how I'd have got off the island. I don't know how I'd have got off the island, but I'd have got away from like the main part and been like, I'm leaving the cult. So I'm gonna say yes, also because I don't think it's a good enough film to die for.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's such an insult. Love that. What an ending. What a way to end that.
Oh, well, what are you giving this Spookies out of 5 and what's your favorite spooky moment? Katie, I'm going to come to you first because I think I know your favorite spooky moment.
Fuck yeah. I'm going to give it a 1.5.
Oh, generous.
I
Very
think
generous.
so. The half is because I'd quite like to watch it again, actually. I know that sounds weird, but I actually would. I'm quite interested in it now. I quite like to watch it again. See what all the fuss is about. See why like some people out there just love it.
I want to watch it with a drink.
She's drawn in already.
And I quite like Nic Cage, so that's my reason. And it's gonna be when he knocks out Sister Beach because it's just comedy gold. There's no dialogue. It's just
literally laughing about a man punching a woman for no reason. This is so
yeah. That's my
Charlie, what about you?
Go on, Tal. Charlie can't speak.
Charlie. I'm gonna give it a 1. I think I really need to rewatch. I really need to rewatch the original because I remember liking it, but this has happened with a few films where I'm like, I'm sure I used to like this. Oh, I've just drawn on my lip. So I need to rewatch the original to check if I'm insane or if I did actually enjoy that, and if this one is just bad. But my spooky moment.
Just had an instant reaction, and you're just like 2 hours later.
2 hours later. Again, I knew this question was coming, but the problem isn't because I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got so many moments. It's like, it's going to be when you see the Wicker Man, because again, I was like, that could have been so much scarier.
I think that bit looked kind of cool.
I think it looks really cool, but again, like what follows isn't scary, but it could have been. But I think that bit is quite fucking cool. That is something you don't see in a lot of horrors, just a fucking 20-foot. How did he not see that? How was he on this island for that long and didn't see this fucking 50?
I'm too busy slapping up fucking
I wonder why being off half the commune.
Everyone's like carrying trees around trying to build this thing and he hasn't noticed.
I mean, the guy thought there was a fucking shark in a bag. Do you think he's
the worst police officer ever?
Oh my god.
amazing.
It's the worst police officer. That should be the tagline of this film.
That's what we'll start the episode with.
He's the worst police officer ever. Oh, over to you, Charlie.
You've had enough time, Charlie.
No.
That really got
I'm
me.
going to give this film a 0 out of
Oh my
5.
God,
I
that's the
don't
lowest
think-
ever.
I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think we've ever given a film
No.
a 0 before.
Wow.
For reasons stated, who let
Oh,
fucking
God.
Nicholas out the cage?
Wait.
Like,
Hey.
fuck me. I turned off the movie. I can't. I just can't. Like, I've never. And it's not a good. I had to turn it off because it got me going so much that I thought I was gonna fucking get stung by a bee or something. I don't know. It was fucking terrible. It was.
Okay.
It's the worst thing I've watched in a few years.
It's so funny.
I
I want to watch it again now, like you say, Katie, because we've talked about it. And
Right?
I kind of want to laugh
drunk
at it
and watch it
more.
together.
Yeah, have a drink.
That
and
would be
watch it.
pretty funny.
It is a pizza party movie, that's for
It
sure.
is.
It is.
Why? This is why I thought we'd watched it, because me and Katie would shout the bees at each other, but apparently
Yeah,
that line,
we did.
that line's not even in the movie.
Not the bee. Well, yeah, it's in like the.
It's a
whatever.
bit
Yeah.
be extended, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we just watched a clip. I don't know. It was...
I think that's what we used to do. I think we just watched the clips and thought it was funny, but I don't think we'd ever watched it together. Oh.
You're not gonna get your damn honey. I
Is that your spooky moment?
don't even know if that's my spooky. My spooky moment is just before the opening credits, where there's the car crash. I'm done there. That if it stopped and finished there, perfect.
I thought you meant like, you know, when you're like, oh, the best bit of the film was when it ended. I thought that's what you were doing. Like the best bit was before it started, when I hadn't watched it and my life was intact.
My life was
Literally,
so much better.
I wasted my life watching some
Well,
of
you
this
didn't,
movie.
because then you got to have a hilarious evening chatting with us about it. So fuck you.
True, but yeah, no, this was shit. This was fucking shit.
Well, that was our episode on The Wicker Man. So the 2006 version, not the good one. So join us again in a couple of weeks. Check us out on our socials to see what we're up to and what film we're going to be covering next. You can follow along, like, subscribe, follow, and yeah, give us all the love, because we need it and we're needy humans. Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.
These people see me too tonight. Kill me, please, if I have to watch another one of these movies again.
Not the bee.
Not the pig. My legs.
You're not going to get your goddamn honey!
Too good.